Wolfgang Reip is also still in contention for the Pro-Am title. He'll be in the 32 RJN Nissan this weekend alongside Steve Doherty, and the Belgian is well aware of what he needs to do to stay in the championship hunt.
Well, this weekend it's simple. We need to finish at the best position we can. This time in FIAGT on this track, on Navarra track, we feel quite good. The most important thing is to take pleasure and to be as fast as you can.
The rain has plagued us all weekend here in Spain, but the sun has come out ahead of the final race of the weekend, the main race in terms of the FIAGT series for 2013. It's the 5th round of the season, the penultimate round of the season as well, and the championship can actually be wrapped up today, although that seems unlikely. Here we go then, it's Sebastian Loeb on pole position. When the lights go out, he will floor the throttle and the race will get underway as the lights go out now. Who's going to get the best getaway? Zuber darts out immediately, but there's no progress for him as they flash down towards the first corner. It's a good start from the outside there for Andreas Simonsen trying to get around the outside. Zuber's up into second place as they come into turn 1. He's got a brilliant getaway, battling there with the Lamborghini. Simonsen's gone wide. Everyone's safely through these first few corners. Simonsen goes wide again, but it's Sebastian Loeb racing 1-2 up at the front. Brilliant start from Zuber. Third then is Gerhard Twereza. Fourth has gone the second place in the championship car of Frank Stippler. Is that our championship leaders off? It is! The number 11 car, Stefano Telli, sent spinning at turn 5.
I thought that was a right rear puncture. It's not just the tire, it was so distorted with that spin, so he has gone to the back of the field, and not only is a bad day, been a bad day in the qualifying race, it's just gotten an awful lot worse. But where is the Stippler? It is 4th place. It's the 4th of those cars coming down the back straight into turn 9.
And right behind him actually is Steve Doherty in the Nissan. There's also moves being made there with Karun Chandok getting past, but then getting back past because Hubert Hope ran too deep into the corner. Well, what can Stefano Telli do? Did he pick up any damage after that contact? That's going to be the thing to see. I presume it was contact anyway, coming down into turn 5 with all the cars closing in on one another, but it's a Sebastian Loeb racing 1-2 up at the front.
It looked like everybody in turn 5 was just so bunched that Stefano Telli appears to have been maybe on the outside going into turn 5 and just got squeezed on the outside. Consequently, he is now running at the tail of the field.
So we'll see whether he can catch up with the rest of the back and how quickly he can make his way through the order. There is Nicky Meyer-Melnhoff in the number 12 Audi, but across the line then comes Loeb, half a second clear of his teammate. It's all kicking off for 4th position as it looks like Steve Doherty is going to go past Frank Stippler down the straight. So Steve Doherty having an absolutely fantastic opening lap. He's up into 4th position.
And that's just simply just a good engine at a turn 15, using the power, again the torque of the Nissan engine, and no problem whatsoever getting ahead of Frank Stippler, who doesn't really need to find himself dropping 1 place further down, having started on the front row of the grid alongside Sebastian Loeb. But it is Steve Doherty who's the man, really fastest sector time in first sector of anybody, and this Nissan looks like it could be a real threat to those of the Lamborghini ahead, and then the 2 McLarens.
Absolutely, we'll keep an eye on that one. There we saw Karun Chandok, who came through that lap in 11th position, but here are the 2 McLarens leading the way. Then we've got the 3rd place Lamborghini of Gerhard Twereza. A good start for Alam Coder. He's up into 7th position. And Steve Doherty actually set the fastest first sector of anyone coming through there at 26.5, but Loeb is fastest of anyone in the middle sector. I think that's going to be an interesting battle up at the front. The problem now for Stippler is going to be trying to get past Steve Doherty, because that Nissan is very strong in a straight, but I would suggest doesn't have the raw pace of the Audi.
Well, the BMW was given it, but the Sortelli, who now has been given fastest second sector, Sortelli all the way down in 19th place, some 3.5 seconds behind the 18th place car, so he's got a lot of work to do, and really all he can do is just drive, as we know he will do, his heart and soul out to try and recover something from the disaster of the opening lap.
And Stippler now is about to lose out to Andreas Simonsen by the looks of things as they come across the line. Simonsen's on the outside and he cruises past Stippler. So Stippler really struggling in these opening stages. Is it the brakes, or is he just not quite getting into the zone yet? Oh, he's sent it up the inside. There's going to be a touch there, surely. I think that's pushed them both wide, and that's going to allow Alam Coder to come into the fight, but the BMW can't find a way around the outside at 4.
Alain Cadet had been fastest in the middle sector.
And Alan Day goes past Cadet. Great start, that from the back of the grid for Alan Day. But Cadet then gets the cut back on the inside. And does he finish that move off? Alan Day's holding it in. Oh, bounces up over the curbs.
Well, nothing was wrong with him. He went agricultural. He had to get the car right over the curbs because the BMW was not giving the Mercedes any room at all. And now it's the Nissan and Buncombe who's going to try and get Kader and Alan Day. As we see the Lamborghini there, we look at the Nissan coming out, going to the right-hand side of the racetrack, on screen left-hand side for Alex Buncombe. And that car, the Nissan number 35, was so impressive in the opening lap of the qualifying race this morning. Of course, it had to make that drive-through for an engine change overnight. Have a little nibble at the rear of Sebastian Loeb's car, maybe even think about trying to take the lead. I'm sure there's nothing that stops him from doing so. But it just indicates that Andreas Zuber has got potential. We've seen that from other seasons and other forms of motor racing, but it's never quite come together as successfully as we're seeing it here right now.
No, he's a very successful driver, is Andy Zuber. He's won races in GP2, in Formula Renault 3.5. He's raced GT cars for the last couple of years. Now he's putting Sebastian Loeb, who I don't really need to give you a summary of his racing CV, the 9 times World Rally Champion, under considerable amounts of pressure. Look at that, Loeb even going defensive. So I can't imagine how unpopular Zuber would be if he punted off his team boss.
Well, you can imagine. It would certainly make headlines around the world. And the defence of third place, Gerhard Tweyes are still having to defend from Steve Doherty, doing a super job in the Nissan. And then Stippler behind, first of the Audis. I mean, look how defensive we're seeing Sebastian having to go. These are the wives of respective drivers' girlfriends, and this is a battle. Whether it's for real or whether it's just running so competitively that they can afford to run this close. But Zuber right over the back of Sebastian Loeb's car coming through turn 14, having to get out of the brakes and get out of the rear of the car to avoid running into the back of the boss's car. Imagine running into the back of the boss's car. Well, you know, this is coming up to the conclusion of lap 9. Well, let's just under 15 minutes into the race, and I'm looking skyward, and all I'm seeing is darkness surrounding the racetrack now. We're going to have another joker being played as we look at Alex Buncombe again.
We're also looking at Gerhard Tweyes, who's dropped from 3rd place right down now to 5th position, and we're on board. I'm not sure, but we're on board now with Frank Stippler trying to get back past Tweyes. Tweyes right in the slipstream of Alex Buncombe in the battle for 5th place. So Tweyes is actually down to 6th position, and Stippler's just lost out to the McLaren. So Gregoire de Moustier has just breezed past Frank Stippler down the straight. Here is Steve Doherty in 3rd place. Right behind him is Andreas Simonsen. This is the battle for the overall lead in the Pro-Am class. Out onto the back straight they come. There's 1st and 2nd in Pro Cup. Here's 1st and 2nd in Pro-Am. And coming very quickly to join in is Alex Buncombe. So we're almost looking at an RJN Nissan 1-2. They were told they couldn't enter British GT this year because they were too quick, and I think they're proving us right at the moment.
That's a good car, the Nissan GTR. But of course, on some tracks it's probably better suited than it is in others. But a really impressive drive from Steve Doherty, the young American driver, into the car currently, and Alex Buncombe, who also had to start further down the field because of the circumstances of the qualifying race, and he needs to get onto the tail of Simonsen and the Mercedes-Benz to take a little bit of the pressure off Doherty and try and make this a Nissan 1-2 in the Pro-Am as they stand.
Buncombe comes across the line to go 0.8 of a second quicker than Andreas Simonsen in front of him, so it won't be long before Buncombe is right in this fight. It's Doherty in the black Nissan, Simonsen in the white Mercedes, and Buncombe in the white Nissan behind.
Yeah, on the last lap, Buncombe took 3/4 of a second out of this battle for 3rd place, and he will probably continue to do so. The problem will come when he closes to the back of that Mercedes. Then he's got to find a way to really sweep through with the momentum he's currently got, that 1/2 to 3/4 of a second advantage over the pace that Steve Doherty's running at, which is dictating the pace of the Mercedes. Right now Buncombe's got his own pace, so he needs to find a part of the racetrack where he is strong and he can use that advantage to try and use the slipstream of these two cars ahead. Remember, the Nissan is quite a big frontal area and it punches a big hole in the air, and that's allowing the Mercedes to slip along directly in that slipstream. But which hopefully will help Buncombe as he gets closer to the back of this battle.
The left-hander of turn 11, right up behind Steve Doherty for a good amount of time. His main championship rival is a couple of places behind, running in 4th overall, whereas Simonsen is fourth in class, whereas Simonsen is 2nd in class. But Alex Buncombe is now right with these guys, and watch out for the Nissan coming out onto the start-finish straight, because that's where it's strong, and that could be the opportunity for Buncombe to try and make the move and make it an RJ and Nissan 1-2 at the top of the order in Pro-Am.
He's about as close as you can get without having contact or losing momentum, and really what he wants now is to follow the Mercedes and try and pick up whatever slipstream is available to him. And you can see again, Doherty is able to pull away. Buncombe is getting the slipstream. He's beginning to close, but the defence from the Mercedes is precluding a pass. But now Simonsen's going to have to think not just about what's ahead. Outside for Buncombe, but he can't get the job done. But can he do it in the undercut? No, but now Simonsen has got to worry not about trying to get past the Doherty Nissan, but he's got to try and think about preventing the Buncombe Nissan from passing him.
It's suddenly got a lot more difficult for Andreas Simonsen, but he's a very experienced racer, the Swede, and he's been very impressive this season as well, taking very strong qualifying performances and race performances. They won overall last time out in Slovakia. What can he do coming down the back straight as they come towards the hairpin?
And his home race for that car to be still stationary up on jacks.
Behind that white line, Wolfgang. Very close to that white line exit. And he comes out then behind Marc Basseng now. So
a challenge.
Yeah, and then finally Lucas Ordóñez gets away. What a shame for Lucas. There you can see the HTP Mercedes has made his drive through now and comes out. So we'll wait for a few moments before we get the true order. In fact, we still haven't seen Stefan Ortelli come into the pits, nor Andreas Simonsen. They're the kind of main. That's going to be the big question as we look out the window. When will the Sipler Sandstrom car come through? There it is, coming out of the final corner now, I believe. And so it will still be ahead, not hugely ahead, but in fact I don't think there'll be any cars between them, will there? But look at that, that's our second place car now, the McLaren, followed by the third place Audi, and this fourth place Audi is, I think, how it ultimately shakes out. We'll have to wait for confirmation, but I think that's our top four there, which means in fifth place is now Marc Basseng. Right up behind him in sixth position is the very friendly Belgian Wolfgang Reip. Even when he got punted out of the race in Nürburgring last time out, he was more than happy to have a chat, having just been punted out, and he was furious, but yeah, I'll have a chat, no problems, as we go on board with him now, chasing down Marc Basseng.
Yeah, I mean, he's trying to look up the inside. Basseng holds it out on the outer line to get that, really get the late apex when it's turn 6, and you can see just how quickly the Nissan has closed down the Lamborghini. Then they swerve or back to the right through turn 7, and then ultimately onto the straight. But what's been interesting is that every sector of the circuit we're seeing purples, but not from one driver, but from 3 individual drivers on their particular first line lap when the tire is at its freshest. So on the brakes, Wolfgang Reip looking to find a way, get ahead of Marc Basseng, who knows Lamborghini's probably better than any racing driver I know.
but Hoped has come into the pits to hand over to his teammate for this weekend, Martin Matska. We'll see where they come out. Andreas Simonsen is still out there lapping. He's the only man left yet to have come into the pit lane. There is Hoped putting the seatbelts up for his co-driver, but there's a little bit of a problem there, so they're losing some time, which is a shame. But this is a good opportunity now for the Nissan because it's strong in a straight line. Reip is right up behind as they come across the line. The Lamborghini's pretty nifty in a straight line as well, though.
Remember,
it's closing in, though. Here comes Wolfgang Reip. Bassin goes defensive. He's going to force Reip to go the long way around if he wants to, but he's not able to at the moment.
And remember, there's a massive amount of difference in actual motor racing experience as the Lamborghini gets a little bit out of shape in turn 2. Wolfgang Reip's got to move over to the left to avoid contact, but it's the experience that Marc Bessang has that's going to really pull the chain for Wolfgang Reip. He's got to really go on a very rapid as he looks down the inside, but again, nowhere near close enough to be alongside. So this is a bit of a masterclass for the young Belgian driver, the tall Belgian from Belgium, and the German Marc Bessang.
Brussels.
They're all from Brussels.
So Wolfgang is working hard. There's our race leader still, Andreas Simonsen, yet to come into the pits, so it'll have to be this time around as we continue watching the battle between Bassin and Reip.
It's good to see a bit of motor racing.
Absolutely.
I mean, two different manufacturers, two totally different concepts. One is mid-engine V10, the other is front-engine V6 turbo. And you couldn't buy in your local Lamborghini or Nissan showroom two diverse automobiles, but both, believe me, are street machines that are blindingly quick as it goes between turns 2 and turn 3.
Laurens Vanthoor just set the fastest third sector of anyone and is close to 6 seconds behind Edvard Sandstrom. That last lap he lapped 9/10 of a second quicker. Here comes Andreas Simonsen into the pits then. He has got a 28-second lead over Alvaro Parent, so it's going to be reasonably close, this. I think Parent will have it.
He's not going to get it done. I mean, I don't think they can come in the pit lane and get out ahead of this car. Alvaro Parent down at turn 12. There, the Mercedes comes to a standstill. Simonsen gets out, Afinathiev gets in. So, coming through turn 13, then the little short run down to 14, and then you're into the final turn. And to me, Alvaro Parent will pull onto the straight, as he's about to do now. And they're still working on the Mercedes. The door goes down, and they're still going to change. Well, they've got all 4 wheels and tires changed. I get the car fired up. So the McLaren has taken on the lead, and in fact they've lost 2 positions because the second of the 2 McLarens, driven by Mike Parisi, has gone through in 2nd place. And who else is going to come through before Mercedes gets on? It's Sandstrom going to do it.
Sandstrom comes through as well,
so
and possibly Laurens Vanthoor. Now this could be important. If Vanthoor can't get past and gets stuck behind Afinathiev, he's got the speed, so he should maybe be able to get it done now. If not, he could lose some time here in his chasing of Edvard Sandstrom in front of him. He hasn't been able to get it done just yet. He's got good drive out of turn 3, but that's bad news for Laurens Vanthoor as he tries to chase down Edvard Sandstrom.
That was the opportunity that was sitting there to be taken. It almost occurred in turn 3, but the Russian driver managed to consolidate and keep the Mercedes ahead of the Audi, and now it's going to be a real battle for Laurens Vanthoor to not get trapped at the pace of the Mercedes and then consequently find himself unable, as we look at Andreas Simonsen, who's done a good job and not really looking really heated.
No, this is the battle then for fourth place overall. It's comfortably the Pro-Am lead for Sergei Afinathiev now. Wolfgang Reip 2nd in class, 7th overall, and Michael Ammermuller now has climbed up to 3rd place in class. So this is great for their championship chances because Harry Prochik is down in 4th in class with Afinathiev set to win it. So that'll be great news for them. Whoa, I just said that, and he gets all out of shape. Vanthoor tries to find the inside line, does find it, and moves through. Now, how much time has he got to close in? He's got to find about 6 seconds to close in on Edvard Sandstrom. Otherwise, they will lose out, and what is a 16-point advantage will drop only by 3 points. It'll become a 13-point advantage, but still, anything can happen when you end up at a street race in Baku.
Indeed. you think back to the Slovakia ring when we saw an absolutely virtuoso drive from Laurens van Voor to come through and take the podium position, well, I suspect we're going to look for a similar one as Wolfgang Reip looks to battle the way past.
Basseng still in front of him.
Indeed, so that battle's just basically just remain, and Basseng is able to control effectively Wolfgang Reip. He's not having to do anything dramatic to make the life difficult for. Look up the inside, he's going to have a go this time. Nearly got contact left front, right foot left rear, usual mechanism.
Oh, he's gone for it here.
Now.
He's really pushing, isn't he? Mark Basseng will be working very hard in that Lamborghini to keep Wolfgang behind. He realises he's got to find some way of getting past, because although it's the top end speed that is strong for the Nissan, as Jelmer Berman gets out of his BMW, so problems there at Vita for one. A real shame, because it was fantastic to have them in the series, but unfortunately they've run into difficulties.
Yeah, no, I wondered if that stemmed from the fairly substantial moment we saw Karun and Chandruk have on the entry into turn 9 much earlier in the race. Sometimes there's a legacy of a fairly hairy moment like that that only manifests itself a bit further down as we keep this battle between Wolfgang Reip, Mark Basseng, and now behind you've got Oliver Jarvis, who's going to join in, and again he'll be looking to pick up any bits and pieces that might arise. So there's a bit of impatience from the Belgian driver in the Nissan.
So the problem for Reip is that the car is strong in a straight, but the traction out of the final corner isn't that strong, although he's got it done very nicely this time. This is going to be his best opportunity, I think, because he's very, very close to the Lamborghini. Here comes Wolfgang Reip in the battle for 6th place. Basseng goes defensive. Reip puts it on the outside. Basseng comes and says, you're going to have to be brave if you want to get past. Reip is brave, and he moves up past Mark Basseng into 6th place.
Well, I tell you, I bet it wasn't like that when he was doing the GtAcademy. It was probably a lot easier in your living room playing on a virtual racetrack, but that was a well-executed and courageous move coming up to a very quick curve on the outside, and it was Mark Basseng who had to blink first and let the Nissan get the advantage. Now under pressure from Oliver Jarvis in the Audi behind, so from being the applier of pressure, he's now going to be the victim of it from Jarvis.
But Reip is still, even with that move, second in class, so no changes made there. Steve Doherty on the right in the glasses, he's happy with that. Alex Buncombe less happy, sitting down on the stool after a difficult race for him. Well, he himself had a great race, but it was the difficulties they ran into during the pit stop window that means they're running now down 13th. In 13th place, which is 5th overall, sorry, 5th in class. And now Mark Basseng has got that Audi of Oliver Jarvis, as you say, right up behind him. And now that Reip's got past, he's going to sprint away, and more troubles, unfortunately, for the road drive Lamborghini. Matthias Stumper's now brought it into the pits.
I mean, I think Mark Basseng he was doing a job, and that was defending. And now that the Nissan has gotten ahead, it's going to be relatively clear air and easy for Wolfgang Reip. And Oliver Jarvis realises that the Lamborghini, its overall lap time is below that of his Audi, but of course he's got the problem now of finding a way past. It took Wolfgang Reip quite a long time to get the deal done. It was done as they come up here to the curve that is turn 1 flat out in these conditions, 250 kilometers per hour, and then you're off the throttle on the brakes and preparing for turns 2 and 3, which in effect become almost one big corner. There is the broken disc. That's unusual. Well, I haven't seen a disc shattered like that in a long, long time.
Now, what can Ollie Jarvis do? If he gets past Mark Basseng, he will move him into 5th place in class. Up at the front, meanwhile, it is still Alvaro Parent, 11 seconds clear of Mike Parisi, who's 4 seconds clear of Sandstrom. Now, Van Thor is
5 seconds, 5.5 seconds
5.5 seconds back, and only lapping half a second quicker.
Yeah, but 19 minutes remaining, so I mean it is entirely feasible. And Laurens van Thor, last lap for him was a 1:40.4. The last lap for Edvard Sandstrom was a 1:41.2. So the best part of 3/4 of a second, that you might be kind, to Laurens van Thor. And if he can do that lap on lap, he's going to run that down before we get anywhere near the end of this race.
News from the pit lane is here's Basseng doing battle with Oliver Jarvis still. Basseng in the white Lamborghini, the reigning GP1 world champion. Ollie Jarvis behind, who races in all sorts. Races in prototypes, in GT cars.
He's right on the tail of the Lamborghini coming out of turn 3. And Mark Bassang is just really driving in a defensive mode. He knows, as Nicky Menhoff, he's happy with that. Nicky, come on, show us how you feel. Down the inside, Ollie Jarvis, beautiful swoops through into turn 5. That's how you make a pass in turn 5. No contact, just got the car alongside before Mark Bassang is in a position to defend, and clean and fair racing, what I like to see. And look at the gap, he's already opened up a gap on the Lamborghini just simply by being able to get through in turn 5, and then 6, 7 and 8 just extended with the BMW now behind, and that's going to put a bit of heat again on the rear view mirror of Mark Bassang.
So that means that Audi Oliver Jarvis is into 7th position, which is 5th in class. WRT are running 3rd, 4th and 5th in class now. Crucially, it's Edward Samstrom leading the way out of those 3, and he is set to close in the lead at the top of the championship, only very minorly, but enough to keep it alive going to the final weekend of the season, and reasonably alive as well. It's not a totally outrageous proposition for Sandstrom and Stifler to win it. Just a solid weekend and a bit of bad luck for Van Thorn or Telly, and they'll be well in with a shot. Across the line comes Ollie Jarvis then. Navarra leading the way ahead of Mike Parisi in 2nd place. It's now 12 seconds gap up at the front, so Parisi lapping very strongly. Here's a replay of the move, and Jarvis realised that Bassang goes wide there, and he had the same realisation that it's fantastic watching Nicky Menhoff, always entertaining, but he saw the gap that Wolfgang Reip tried to exploit, but the traits of the Nissan weren't quite able to use the gap to its maximum potential, so he got him down the straight around the outside into turn 1. Great move from him. And now the next man that Mark Bassang has to defend against is Stef Dusseldorp. These two did battle last season in the GT1 World Championship. They were both in different cars. In fact, Bassang was in a Mercedes and Dusseldorp was in a McLaren. Mercedes looks to the inside, coming down into 9. Not close enough. Oh, Bassang's gone in too deep. That's going to allow Dusseldorp the chance to get up the inside. Can Bassang keep it around the outside? No, he can't. And Dusseldorp goes through. I wonder if there's a problem with that Lamborghini, because the pace was good earlier.
Well, in the initial laps, the pace was good, but basically, it's been since the pit stop, certainly, Mark Bassang's been finding a rear guard action to keep everybody behind him at bay, starting with Steve Doherty in the Nissan and then everybody else. So, whatever the issues are for Mark Bassang, no doubt it's a grip-related one. But he's just being cherry-picked now as cars overtaken those behind, catch up. Pretty much, their Lamborghini actually is in the pit lane. So is there the reason why? Is it something we're not aware of? I thought it might have been something just down to grip, but maybe there's a bigger issue for Mark Bassang and
Reip still getting a second in class, which is great news. It's all kicking off here. After what was a thrilling battle in Pro-Am, which really, it's fantastic to see the Pro-Am guys mixing it right at the front of the field, really. A 4th place overall for Afanasiev and Simonsen as they climb onto the top step. Next out, Steve Doherty and Wolfgang Reip. 3rd position for Michael Ammermuller and Cesar Campanico in the end, and we've also got our Gentleman Trophy winners up there as well, Michele Rugolo and Claudio Stanisvich. So this moves Andreas Simonsen and Sergei Afanasiev further ahead at the top of the Pro-Am standings, which is great news for them. It means that they will be in the box seats to take the Pro-Am title. Michele Rugolo, you can see there on the podium. Thank you very much for joining us here this weekend for the FIA GT Series round at Navarra. It's the penultimate round of the season. The final round will be at Baku in the end of November. Make sure you join us for that because the title fight is going down to the wire. From myself, Jack Nichols, John Watson alongside me, everyone here in Navarra, we'll see you in Baku. Thanks for joining us.